Wonder Soul. Wonder Soul.
Wonder Soul.
Okay, we're good. All right, cool. All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the podcast. I know it's been a minute. We've been trying to do this, and by we, I mean me and Bailey is joining me on this episode of the podcast. But yeah, we've been trying to sit down and record for a long time, but life has been pretty busy. We just got into summer, so hopefully have some more free time, and we're going to try to get something going on a more regular basis. And yeah, we just were wanted to sit down and just kind of talk and, I don't know, shoot the shit, really. Talk about some of the books we've been reading, some of the games we've been playing, whatever else that comes to mind. Those are just some of the things that I would like to talk about. I don't know. Bailey might have some whole other bag of topics. Pretty similar? Okay, yeah. Good. Because I know we've been reading a lot of different stuff. Well, now I won't say it like that. You've been reading this one series that we've just gotten into a lot. You're like four books ahead of me.
It took so long to read the first book. Like, this is not my fault. It was good material, and it got even better as time went on. So it's not my fault that you drug your feet and are behind.
I know, but I'm on the second book now, so we'll talk about that, because I think that's going to be fun. Hopefully, it's something we say will let people know if they want to get into it or not. Because I know, the last couple episodes we've read, the last couple episodes we recorded have been about things that we've read, and it's almost like a book club type thing. But we've been trying to find books and stuff to
It's like a table talk.
Yeah.
Talking about what's going on.
Yeah, so it's been pretty cool. And then, I don't know, recently, for some reason, hanging out with you has gotten me back into comics as well. So we've been going to the comic book shop once a week.
Trying to promote local small business.
Absolutely. I even got a pull list now. So we're, trying to keep consistent with it. It's been a while since I've really tried to get into some comics, and I'd like to talk a little bit about some of those books and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much just going to be a casual talk and catch up in a way that, we haven't recorded in a few months. So hopefully this summer we can be more consistent.
Yeah. Can't be consistent then.
I know, dude. Life is so busy. I know. There were so many times we were like, we're going to record tonight. And then it was like, how about we just play video games and how about we watch a movie, or let's just go to bed.
I mean, sometimes the energy's just not there.
It's not there.
You can't force it. You gotta feel it out.
Yeah.
Genuine, at least.
Yeah, and that's what I've been striving for with this now. I really would like to have some really just, I don't know, down-to-earth conversations. I think we're going to find that we like to have these open form type episodes, but then we'll like to pick certain topics and really hyper focus in. And there's a couple other people I'm trying to get on the podcast, and yeah, I usually do that, I think, over Discord and stuff like that. But this is, unusual for me, because even all the time doing the podcast, I think there's only been a handful of times I've actually recorded in person with someone. So this is still something I'm getting used to. So everyone listening, if you guys have any feedback, we would love to hear it. Things you'd like to hear us talk about, things you wouldn't. Other things. I'm going to hopefully invest in some better equipment as far as recording in person. I've been kind of rocking this HyperX USB mic. I used it a lot for streaming and stuff like that. It's really good when it's just one person, but it's got some settings, so you guys let us know about the sound quality as well. So we're trying out. We're going to really... Bailey was like, look, we're going to record no matter what. If it's shit, whatever. Yeah. We don't have to release this, so who knows?
It doesn't have to be great.
Yes, so appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. But yeah, do you have any place that you would like to start? Any things you would like to bring up first before I pick something?
Probably Dresden Files.
You really? Okay, we're
Because
gonna
I
start
have
there.
been like holding back wanting your opinion on certain things.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
fine.
now you've like.
So are we going to be in spoilers? Pretty much.
Probably,
Yeah, but it's like the
like-
first book, and it came out in like 2000 something. So
I mean, and they get better anyway.
Yeah.
So like, if this sounds good to you, then just skip the first book and like.
yeah, skip the first book, or we'll
We'll
like.
do a recap. You'll figure it out.
I'll try to find where we start talking about stuff, and maybe we'll give a heads up to people.
Isn't it on YouTube? Didn't you like?
Oh, I totally, yeah. I listened to
Like-
the audiobook on YouTube for a little
Yeah.
bit, especially when I was at work. Yeah, I did that.
Exactly. So like, it can be found if they want it.
Oh, absolutely. And the book, like, I bought
Well,
the.
and the hold on, the
oh, okay.
narrator
Yes.
is what sold this series.
Yes, he
Because
did.
you like to talk about how I'm not a reader because I listen to audiobooks.
I mean,
Which I do read in person. Let's make that clear.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I also like have a busy life and
True.
like to consume my books in my in between moments.
True. I mean, it is. Look, I just like giving you a hard time. It's just funny when you're like, yo, I read this. And I was like, yeah, but did you technically read it? It was read
It
to
was
you.
read to me. That counts the same.
still
I
counts.
consumed this media.
You're absolutely right.
But there's that I read this is much shorter that I listened to someone read this to me.
yeah, which is really what it is. But it is like
But
it's
the
so
narrator
convenient.
sold it.
Well, it's so convenient too. Like just to stay on the audiobook part of it, because that's really what's been helping me get back into reading more consistently. Is like you have Audible, I have Audible. We have separate accounts, but you have like a massive library, I think, on there.
Oh yeah, like I have.
Tons of books.
I mean, it's like
How long have you been using Audible? This is not a sponsor, by the way.
No. I've been using it since 2018.
Wow, so like
Or 2018,
almost about 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I have like over 200 books.
Wow, 200
Yes.
books.
Not all of those.
Have
like,
you
were
listened to all of
paid
them?
For, like some of those were free,
Oh, yeah.
with like subscription and whatnot.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've listened to all of them.
listen to all of them.
Now I've returned a fair few of them.
What are
As well.
your main genres that you can
Oh,
find?
horror is like number one.
Horror.
Then it's usually like sci-fi or fantasy. Because I love, what are they called? Lit RPGs.
Yes, you've been. Yeah, you
I-
read
I
one
like-
recently.
Yeah, I went on a bender with those. But so, they like kind of lead together.
Yeah.
Like I look back on them and I'm like, which one was that? Was that this series or was it that character or what was?
Yeah.
And they kind of all end up just being like,
The same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, but I love a good series, and I read like through a bunch of horror series.
What's like one of your favorite horror series? Not by like a certain art, Arthur. Arthur? Oh my god!
Author.
Oh my god! Sorry, we were watching Arthur today, and
We
it's-
have been watching a
Arthur's
lot
on
of
my brain,
Arthur.
and it's the Arthur podcast, which is it's like a legit thing, by the way. It was weird. I thought like they messed up
Well,
on
it's because they like wrapped up Arthur, but everyone still wants Arthur. But they were like, we're not going to write it anymore. We're just going to play it on
We're just gonna play repeats. I mean, they age
But it
well.
works.
They age well. Anyways, my bad.
So, series?
Yeah, you don't have to name one. You
No,
know,
I'm trying to think. There's been like a few.
Would you say Dresden Files is horror in a way? I think
Yes,
so.
absolutely, because there's like creatures,
Demons.
and demons, and like
Werewolves,
possessions.
vampires.
Yes, there's like,
Bunch of supernatural shit.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
like the skull that like talks to people
Yeah.
and like goes and does shit on his own time. Like, yeah, it would definitely be horror. He's a wizard.
It's like a horror mystery fantasy.
Yeah, well, it's like a noir to me.
Noir as well.
It's
as
like
well.
a horror noir
fantasy mystery. It's definitely mystery, dude. Like
See, noir
every.
always means mystery on something.
Oh, I thought it just had that
it's
certain
like
aesthetic.
dark,
that
broody. Like,
black and white detective. You
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
Right,
but
the-
it's very interesting, and the main character is very likable because he's just like a normal ass dude,
Yeah, he is. He's really
and
funny.
like shit does not go well for him.
No, he's not. He has a lot of bad luck.
Yeah, like the electricity thing.
Yeah.
Like, bro can't use electricity, but he lives in this apartment building with an elevator, so he just, like, doesn't ever have that option.
Never uses it.
No.
Oh, well, this, like, okay, so who wrote this? And it's a series of books about this wizard in Chicago, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's modern times. He's like a private detective almost.
He's a wizard for hire, is like how he...
Yeah.
But he, in his wizarding, is usually solving problems or finding things or like...
Getting wrapped up
some variant. I do enjoy his little pamphlets that he talks about, that he writes. It's like... It's always got a funny name. I'll have to look it up. But he writes like these faux factoid pamphlets.
Does he?
And like hands them out in his office there on like this table. And I always think that's the funniest thing. He's like, because people have to be educated on what's real about wizards, you know?
Yeah, it's a really cool approach on like that whole fantasy. Like, you know, there's vampires, werewolves, all the magic stuff, but it's like they make it fit in a modern day.
Well, and a lot of people don't encounter those things in their lives, so they don't know that it's real.
So it's still kind of like not real? Are you sure?
Well, so it's real in the sense that there are people that are like publicly like werewolves and vampires and things like that, but it's almost in a fake way. Like... The Werewolf Society pretends to be a D&D group, which I mean they're kind of nerds, so
that's
like
wild.
that fits. And like the Vampire Society, one of the like council members is a reporter, and he goes and reports the opposite of the truth. So he essentially takes the reality of the situation, and then he's like, "Oh, but let me point out all the ways this couldn't be real, and clearly vampires aren't a thing." Because this medical thing would explain this, and this scientific thing would explain that. So it's a lot of like, look the other way. So in one of the books he describes it as like, normal people don't really want to see these things. Okay. Like, so they kind of ignore it.
They know it's out there, but they're like, I don't want to mess with it.
Like, werewolves can't be real. Like, I really don't have to worry about that much in my life.
Is that bartender aware of Harry and what he does?
Yes.
Like,
so the bartender
Mac,
is...
right? Is his name?
Yeah, McAnally's.
Okay.
So is his bar. But it's a safe space. Like, it's where magical people can come. Like, think like Hogsmeade. Okay. Like the Three Broomsticks. Like it's a place where people who are magical can go and like have a drink. Okay. And no one's gonna attack them. It's got like weird geometry and like wards and all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can't really like fight in there. So it's kind of like a safe zone.
Is it kind of like that hotel in John Wick?
Yes.
How they're like, yo, we don't do it here.
We don't do that. Yep, exactly.
Take it outside.
Correct. So it's almost exactly like that. But McAnally, Mac, wants to like help people. Like he's not out to like screw anyone over. But he's like very introverted and reserved. Yeah. And taking everything in around him.
Well, and you know, you were mentioning how like nobody really knows if it's real or not. That's how the book starts. Like Stormfront, the first book in the series, and there's a handful of these books. It's a big series.
It's like 15 or 16 now.
And I think it's still ongoing. I think James Butcher or Jim Butcher.
Jim Butcher and James Marsden, right?
Yeah, see, I got them mixed up.
Yeah. Who is the guy from Buffy? Spike
the narrator.
Buffy,
the narrator.
Because that fucked up my brain in a real way for a minute there. Because you're like, yeah, did you realize it's the guy from Buffy? I'm like, no, it's not.
But you know what first came to my mind, though? It was that he was the live-action Piccolo in that Dragon Ball Evolution movie.
Like, I've not even seen that.
You've never seen Dragon Ball Evolution?
I've never seen, like, clips and, like, gifs.
We need to have, like, a bad movie night and watch that.
Oh, yeah, that one goes on there for sure.
I have it on Blu-ray.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's terrible. I have to show it to the world.
We can watch that and David Lynch's Dune.
Okay, cool. I have that on VHS.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Because those are just terrible movies that didn't need to be.
Did not need to be. Did not need to happen, honestly.
I love David Lynch, but...
You do. You do, like Twin Peaks.
It did not need to happen. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Why is he so good, though, at narrating? Because I have my own opinion.
So I think it's like his cadence. It's the speed in which he delivers. I almost feel like this is one of those things, if you sped up the audiobook, you'd be doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely.
Because you're missing the acting in it. In the same way that, like, who is it? James Fry or something like that does Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah. I can look that up.
Stephen Fry. There we go. Stephen Fry does Sherlock Holmes. And things like that. Like, you'd be doing a disservice to not listen to the voice acting of it. But yeah.
Yeah, he's acting like, and I know I was talking to you about this. I think it was even today. Is that he does well with the other characters as well? Like, he is the main character. He is Harry, right? But he also does really well with like doing other voices, and I think it is like. You say cadence, I think it's just like how he breathes into the mic. He'll even like, it's just natural. You're acting, it's like you're hearing him.
And I hate mouth noise, but it almost makes it better
He'll
to
be
hear
like,
his like pauses or his swallow or his exhale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree with that.
Where sometimes narration is almost too clean. It almost seems like.
Well, and to go back to what you said, you know, he does the other people well.
He does.
Because I forever go back to the narrator of the Harry Potter series and his like high-pitched female voices where they're like super high pitch and like nasally and like very clearly like a caricature of a woman's voice.
Yeah.
He does. James Marsden does a good job of like making it sound feminine without like going into a feminine caricature.
Yeah, it takes you out of the book sometimes when
It definitely takes you out of the book.
Narration is key, dude. Like, especially when you're, well, obviously when you're listening to audiobooks. Obviously. I mean, doesn't matter when you're picking up a book. I mean, the narration is your own voice in your head, but there has been a lot of books that I've listened to and I've been like, man, like, I like what I'm hearing, but I almost don't like how I'm hearing it. So it's kind of distracting me from really getting into it. But this was so immersive. Like even the writing style, it kind of makes it out like it's his recounting of the events, and he's almost like recording it on a tape or something, and you're just listening back to him talk about this crazy shit he just went through.
So that's kind of how the way I view it too.
Yeah.
Like, it's written to be his like recording.
Journal.
Yes, like exactly.
Yeah,
like
his notes.
His log.
Yeah.
Like, on this day, this thing happened, and then
Yeah.
this thing happened, and then this thing happened.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and then you realize the book's only like 4 or 5 days long.
And it's only from his perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting. And the more characters, because obviously I'm farther in the series, like the more characters that repeat and you get invested in them, the more that's really interesting. Because you only see Harry's side of it, but these characters are like clearly living other lives.
Oh.
Like, there's a whole other thing happening that you have no idea about because he doesn't have any idea.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the fun with the mystery, because most of these, like I mentioned, are mysteries. At least they seem to be like, I don't know how they get later. Yeah.
They're all
to some
kind of
extent, right?
mystery.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they deal with a lot of different creatures. Like the first book, spoiler alert, is there are vampires in it, but like I guess that they're not like the main focus. But
the main baddie is a wizard.
Is another wizard,
right?
Which is actually appropriate when you stop to think about it.
So the main baddie in this one's a wizard. In the next one, it's a werewolf.
That's cool.
And then a vampire, and then the fairy.
Oh, interesting.
Which is cool because I love the fae because they're always like in literature in general.
Yeah.
Because they're always like terrible, demonic, bad creatures. Well, not even troublemakers. Like the fae are like usually there to like enslave you or take your life or like do some crazy ass dark magic. Like they are always some kind of dark magic.
They're not like Tinkerbell.
They're always like stunning. So like Harry's like, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Like she is physiologically perfect. And then he flips on his sight and he's like, oh, okay,
shit.
That's what you look like.
Oh, explain
and then he's
that.
like immediately like, no.
Explain that to people.
So he has like a third eye, like an extra sense is basically what it's like. But it opens him up to other things that also have that ability. And some things you just don't want to see.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like leave it on because he doesn't want his godmother to find him, which is funny because he has a fairy godmother, but she's a bad thing.
Oh.
She's a really
this
thing.
is news to me.
Yeah, and you find out about her in the second book.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you about this whole series. It's just really cool how it blends mystery, true crime, fantasy, and horror, and how it blends them kind of seamlessly. And then it's also got that, like, because he's involved with the police, but he also works with reporters. Like, it's just all the aspects of, like, these people exist, and all these people in power know they exist, but the communities and the rest of the world's like, nah.
Is it kind of like a supernatural Law and Order?
Yes,
Sort of.
Law and Order.
Like, I was waiting, it's like dun dun.
Yeah.
You know, and he just is like out doing his thing, and they're usually pretty contained stories, like,
and they're not long. They're
not
like,
super
if you're
long.
listening to them, they're like 8 to 9 hours. I think most of
Yeah.
them are. I think the longest is like 13.
First one was 8. Second one I know now is 10, so it's a little bit longer than the first one. But
yeah, and then it dips back down for a second, then it goes
Okay.
back up.
yeah, Jim Butcher does a really good job. Like, you know, the premise itself is really cool and interesting, but like we've been telling you, it's the writing style and the delivery. If you want to listen to the audiobook, I highly suggest that's the way
The
to go.
pacing is great, and
Yeah.
as a person that like burns through books,
Yeah,
a good pacing really speeds.
it's entertaining.
you through.
It's
And
definitely immersive too.
It leaves you wanting more of it, which obviously I continued.
you're blazing through it, dude.
Yeah, it's a great book to
It
listen
is
to.
good. I you know, I'll either listen to a podcast or audiobook or even a YouTube video. Like, I have like 5 different things that I fall back on where I see that you just, you know, Alexa, Audible, and then like you're picking
gonna
it
make her
up.
play this book
Oh, I
right
know.
now.
She probably is.
She heard
Damn
you.
it. But yeah, if you have Audible, check it out. If you don't, I know that the YouTube has the first book. So just look up
And then if you have Libby,
Libby. Yeah, Libby.
the like free library card.
That's
thing.
how I actually started. This is how we got into it.
Yeah, it started in Libby because you were listening to it, and I was like, I like this.
Yeah,
this is good. This hits. Like, let's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how this started. But I don't have a library card.
You have
I
to get
teach
a library
school
card.
And have no library card.
Yes, this summer, if you do not have a library card or know
Go to
where
your
you're,
local library, and then you can
Yes.
get free audiobooks.
absolutely, yeah, exactly.
It's
So
just that easy.
you don't even have to have Audible.
Yeah.
And like I bought this book. I'm sure you could get on. What's that app you
Thrift
like?
books.
Thrift Books.
I love thrift books.
I'm sure these started in what, 2000 or something.
Yeah, and if you're looking for like cheap, like, oh god, what's the Monster Hunter International books I love?
Yeah.
That are also kind of like trashy but wonderful novels. You can get stuff like that for like $1.50 on the website, and it's great. It's like pre-loved, good to go, good to be used.
Before we wrap that topic up here, it's just like at the beginning of the book, they have praise for the novels of the Dresden File. And I like this. This really captures all of it. Is, quote, one of the most enjoyable marriages of the fantasy and mystery genres on the shelves, said a Cinescape.
Yeah, I could see that.
So if you like fantasy and mysteries,
But it definitely has some horror elements that are a hit, and I like some pretty gruesome horror.
there is some good action. Action's pretty good in these books. At least the first
there's
one.
wait till you get to the.
I'm sure.
There's the one about the Holy Knight, the Fist of God.
The Fist of God.
The Fist of God.
Damn.
Because he's got some excellent action in him.
I cannot wait. Yeah, so Dresden Files. I mean, the one thing we talked about this recently about these books, they won't tell you like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5.
No, you have to look up like a book list or go on Audibles because you can click the series.
Yep.
And it gives it to you in
And
order.
even Amazon, if you just want to get them like the mass paper back, is only like $10, and it'll tell you book 1, but it won't tell you on the actual book. Like I'm holding the book right now, it just says Stormfront. And it's like a novel of the Dresden Files, but it doesn't tell you like the first one. So it's like, just pay attention because you can read them. I'm sure you could read them out of order.
I'm sure you could. I mean, he does a little recap, and then
Yeah.
if you miss something, he explains things pretty thoroughly. But, yeah.
Well, I'm glad we were able to get into it. It's always fun to find something new to get into, like a book or a game or whatever. And we've been gaming a lot.
We have gone hard in Divinity 1.
Yeah, we've been trying to beat Divinity Original Sin 2,
and if we would stop starting over,
which we've done 3 or 4 times.
I think it's 4 now.
Yeah.
I think our current playthroughs are 4.
We started on like Steam on the PC, and then when we started seeing each other a lot more, we were able to start our. Well, actually, it's because I got that Xbox, and then. Yeah, and then we did a couch co-op. That's what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. And I like the couch co-op better.
But, it's one of those games where... Well, okay, so Divinity Original Sin 2 and Original Sin, the first one, which is the one that we've been going hard in recently. Yeah. They're like tactical strategy RPGs. So, really fun, man. If you love, like... Good ass.
The voice acting.
Oh, yeah. Well, the second one's better.
Oh, yeah. Well,
tons better.
The second one's better in a lot of ways. Like,
it is.
Mechanically.
It is better now.
It's just better in a lot of ways.
It's harder. The first one's a lot easier, it seems like.
I will say it is a lot harder.
But we've had a lot of battles, which are always fun little chess matches almost, and definitely encourage you to check out some gameplay. But
get your bloodlust out.
Yes. Well, we have like a list of games that are kind of in the same genre, like fantasy. Like I know I want to get into Diablo.
Yes, and I've played most of the
So there's Diablo 3 that we have, and then 4 comes out the 6th of June, which is like 2 weeks away from this recording, I think.
Yeah, it's not far off.
It's not that far.
No.
It's like a Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Or, I don't know. Anyways.
I don't know. Every day is Tuesday.
Every day is Tuesday, right? Oh, yeah. You're on summer break.
I don't have consistent days and weeks anymore.
Everything's a blur.
Yes.
What is today? Yeah.
Time to go outside. That's all I know.
Yeah. But yeah, Divinity 1's been amazing, man. It's been so fun to play something couch co-op, split screen.
I miss that experience.
Me too.
Like, I really liked couch co-op.
It's different.
It's not common now because everyone wants it to be pretty.
I know.
And in order for it to be pretty, you have to be playing on your own devices.
It's not that fun.
But I like a good couch co-op. It makes me feel like it brings that like Mario Party, Mario Kart, like interactivity back.
Which is stuff we play too if we're just feeling like it.
Back in the day, like LAN parties when people would bring like
Xbox Halo LAN parties and stuff.
Yeah. It brings that vibe back.
That's like the only time I got into LAN parties, and I didn't like. I just knew somebody who had that set up, and they would do that like at like events and stuff, where they would have multiple consoles and TVs to have people just for me, I think of Halo, but I know people do that with PCs and stuff, and they probably did it with other games. And
I don't know.
That was before the internet.
The
like,
nerds
blew
I
up.
hung out with weren't this. We were D&D nerds.
Just D&D tabletop.
I mean, no, we played like other stuff, and then we like D&D was main focus. Then we went on this board game bender, and the board games were fantastic. I've played tons of great ones, and I've sat through How to Play Dead of Winter too many times, and will never play the game again.
Dang, never.
It's like an hour and a half just to teach the game to someone.
Wow.
That's with them pre-watching a video.
Oh, God.
I'm like, I don't even lecture children for an hour and a half. That's too long.
Too much.
You have lost my attention. I'm ready to take a nap. I need a coffee. Like, it's too much.
Nope.
But I've played some fantastic games. But we were like D&D nerds, not like gaming nerds. The gaming nerds came when everyone was like in college or lived somewhere else.
Would you say Divinity has D&D elements?
Yeah, I think that's why. So Divinity 2 is one of my like all-time favorite games.
Yeah, I can see why.
And to me, it's the best game for the D&D experience.
Really?
Yeah. Personally.
That's awesome.
Which I'm sure there are other recommendations out there, and I would love to hear them. Because I'll definitely give them a go. But like, I've played Pillars of Eternity, like I've played a lot of other games that are similar to Divinity, and I just found that it is the closest to the like true D&D experience, even down to like how your rolls can sometimes make all of, like, you could just have a critical roll that hits one playthrough of a fight and it turns the tables and you like win the fight, but all the other times, because you missed the shot or you used something different, it just didn't work for you. And that's very D&D to me.
I know the people that have made Divinity the developers are making the new Baldur's Gate. So I'm excited to try that out.
I have, but I haven't played any of the other. I don't think you have to have.
No. Oh, that would actually be something that I would like to just try. Like, it wouldn't be multiplayer, but we could just like play Baldur's Gate and like kind of like, you know, pass the controller back and forth and go through that and see. You know, it's really old school though. It's kind of old school, but it's still like there's like enhanced editions. They have some quality of life things, and yeah, it would be fun to check out with you to see if like the story at least is something. I mean,
I would give it a go. Like I'm all about that like interactive storytelling, role playing experience. Like,
well,
I'm here for that kind of life.
And Divinity 1 and 2 have a pretty cool story. I think that's the problem that I think personally we ran into with starting over with 2. So, you know, some of the gameplay is like really blended in to how you receive the story, and we're like, oh, I finished this conversation and they're telling me to go over here. When you're trying to kind of like catch up to where you were, you know, it's like really hard to follow those natural beats.
Yeah.
And we weren't really using a walkthrough.
I also stand by like somebody in your party has to have pet pal. Like
we're seeing that now.
But that's like a critical like divinity thing. Like,
what is pet pal?
So pet pal is an ability that lets you talk to animals.
That's right.
And the animals will like make you skip a bunch of steps.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I saw them kill him. It was this guy that looks like this. And you're like, oh shit, I totally know a guy in town that looks like this. Like, yeah, what? Okay, done. Or like you can get a ball for a dog, and then the dog gives you like information about a quest that you didn't realize that he was connected to. Yeah. It's just a lot of like streamlining and like bonus storytelling to have the pet pal thing. But I have noticed that it does mess us up a few times.
I know team comp is really important. As much as like your individual build,
huge.
But team comp, like, and we got something in Divinity 1 that's pretty nice. You mentioned the other day, it's almost like your typical
it's like
band
the traditional,
of, you know,
it's the traditional party of 4.
We have a ranger. I'm like the ranger.
Yeah, and then we have a wizard, which is me.
That's you.
Then we have a rogue.
A rogue, yeah.
And then we have essentially like a battle mage or a knight.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bruiser, a tank. I guess she would be more of a tank.
Yeah, she does do that, like crushing fists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think she would count as a tank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She gets in the thick of it. She has like a 2-handed axe or a sword and just goes in.
Yeah. So in that regard, we have like the perfect team comp. Because realistically, you and I heal.
Yep.
So we don't need a healer.
Yeah. And usually a healer is kind of like...
and if you would invest in the damn perk where food fills you up better, you would be like one dinner and done. Like
that's true. Yes, making food and healing and the whole strategy
food is critical.
Well, it's like turn based, and we're each controlling another character. I control the rogue. You control Helga.
The tank.
No, just kidding. That's not Helga. It's not Helga.
Then what do I keep calling him? Midoriya?
Yeah, I call him Wolfgraf. It's like Wolfgraf, and I call him Wolfgraf or something. I don't know. We didn't get to name them.
No, but they are, yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun. We've been really getting into that pretty hard. And when we're not doing that, you've been playing a lot of Sims, and I've been playing a lot of Zelda.
I love Sims. I could build in Sims for days.
Gosh.
And be content with myself.
The investment.
But I love architecture and like landscaping and things like that. So,
how many hours do you have in Sims?
We don't even talk about that.
Yeah,
here.
dude, I want you to drop it over.
I'm not
Give
even.
me like a roundabout.
Shut down, so I have no idea.
Dude, we looked it up recently. What is the roundabout? You don't have to give like.
It was over 2,000 hours.
Golly. That's so much.
It's
2,000 hours. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Thank you for opening up.
I mean, how many people can say they commit that kind of consistency? I mean, because that's like me not playing other things. I am very picky about what I play, and then I go back to the same thing a lot. Like Stardew,
that's really good,
I play a lot.
That's good though. Like, well, you have investments with Sims. Like, there are things that I've seen that you've done and worked on, like, years prior. And,
oh, yeah, because,
you know,
like, I have legacies.
Yeah.
Like, multiple generations of a family tree. Because there
You
was
go
a
hard.
challenge at one time to see if you could have 10 generations of one sim.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I did it. And you got, like, an achievement. It was like, yeah.
What?
Yeah. But, yeah.
Wow. How long have you been playing Sims, though? Like, did you play the other ones?
So I've played all of them.
But did you play, like...
From the first one.
Did you play, like, the Sims in the City? Like, those little spin-offs?
I gave all of them a go.
Okay.
Like, because there's, like, Sims Roller Coaster Tycoon or something.
Yeah, there's
like
some...
that. There's some weird ones in there. Sim City, I wasn't super big on. There's, like, another version of that game that's much, much better. I cannot think of it right now, but I have it in my Steam library. I didn't really like that. There was like Sim Zoo or some weird thing.
Sim Zoo?
Yeah, something like that. Wasn't super into that one either. Yeah. But like the Sims franchise I've been a part of for a long time.
What about the Sims Busting Out?
I did play that. I maxed that out. I 100% at that game.
Came out in like 2003.
Yeah, I 100% at that game. I'm not.
Oh, it was like GameCube. Yeah.
Yep.
And PS2.
I had it on PS2, and I would swap it with my friend who had it on GameCube.
What is your favorite older Sims game? What is this, Sims 4? Or 3?
4.
4? The one that's current?
Is it 3? I don't know. I think it's Sims 4, but I'm not
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Sims 4. Okay. Came out in 2014?
Yeah, it did. But they did like a revamp.
It's almost been 10 years.
Yeah, and they did like a revamp in 2017 or something like that, so it's like copyrighted for 2017 now.
And Sims 2 was in 2004? Wow. So what, are they coming up with the Sims 5, or are they just going to keep this going?
So I don't know, because realistically there's, for the first time ever, like competition for certain aspects of Sims. Like there's a game Paralives.
Okay.
That's supposed to be like the better version of the Sims or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely envious that kind of investment in those games.
Dude, I just love building the houses. It's like
I was about to ask you,
sandbox.
What is up with that? Like, you like Stardew and Sims, like the simulation games and the management games. Like, what is that for you? Like, that you find enjoyment?
Type A introverted personality. Like, I don't know. But I've always liked that, because I liked like Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
What was it, Dragon Quest, where you're like making the village and all that stuff.
Is it?
No,
I don't know.
Cloud something. I don't know.
No.
I have it. Dark Cloud.
Dark Cloud. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does look like Dragon Quest. I can see that. Yeah.
You can see how I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've always liked those kind of games. Animal Crossing. Like Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, back before this one on the Switch and everything.
Yeah, and then I've always liked that. I don't know. They're cozy. Like, I'm definitely a cozy gamer kind of gamer.
But do they feel grindy? Like, isn't there a lot of grinding?
Oh, but see, I like grind in MMOs.
No.
I am a like.
That's where I get off the interstate with you, dude.
Repetition.
I get off at this exit.
Repetition is my thing, man. It like calms my brain down, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can just shut my brain off and keep doing this task.
Nope. It's like that scene from Fast and Furious when he's getting off on that exit. Yep. That's me right now. I'm just like, no. I don't know why. Like, I'm sure if I had like a good, I think it's just the gameplay in general. It just always seems like just tap button, do thing. Like, I never got into World of Warcraft. I never got into any MMOs.
See, I played Guild Wars 2 a lot.
Oh yeah.
I went deep.
You went hard.
I went so hard into Guild Wars 2. It was like super my thing until our friends stopped playing. Then I was like,
that's it, right?
By myself. Like,
I think it's about like who you play with, and that's what makes certain games like Divinity fun. Like, I could see like playing that by yourself.
I think Divinity would suck by myself. Like, I almost like
it'd be hard to manage
off
everything.
And the doing fights with other people. Like, if I had to control the people, I think I might get frustrated.
It'd be a little too much.
I don't know that it'd be too much, because it's like XCOM.
There's some, that's right.
And people love XCOM. I mean,
that is a game that's on my Xbox that I want to play is XCOM 2. And then also, like, Midnight Sun is like that. So, like, so if you don't know what Divinity is, just a reference, XCOM 2 and Midnight Suns is, like, pretty... Yeah, we got this screensaver on in the background. It's got, like, beautiful shots of planet Earth. And it just showed a bunch of cute animals. And Bailey's like, oh, my God.
I know. It's so cute. It has such big eyes.
So big eyes.
Oh, that's not cute.
No,
that's
like an eagle.
It's the beard of prey.
Beard of prey. Yeah. I've been loving Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
It's so cozy and
So
calming
great, man.
and beautiful.
I'm taking my time with it, man.
It is the most the Switch will ever be able to do, though.
Oh, it's pushed it. Yeah, it's
we
done.
have seen the maximum for the Switch. Like, this is it.
It's a swan song, dude.
Switch.
It's like, yeah, that's all I got left in the tank. I don't even know if we know. They haven't announced what's coming out. Like,
well, and they keep saying that, like, Hogwarts Legacy is going to come to the Switch, and I'm like, how?
It got delayed.
Like, well, duh. Yeah. Because the Switch's technology cannot.
I think they're going to try to cloud base it.
My PC handles it perfectly. From what I understand, the consoles are doing great with it, but, like,
I think they can do it. Like,
I don't think the Switch can.
I think
those
can.
Battles, like, the Switch is not gonna, like...
Look, dude, what they're gonna do is they're just
Visually, it will look like Harry Potter Lego then. Like,
no, it would not look like Harry Potter Lego.
It would definitely look like Harry Potter Lego. There's no way the Switch can do that. Visually and
no, it will not look like Harry Potter Lego, Bailey. It won't look as good as PC and Xbox, but it will be good.
It's gonna be Harry Potter Lego. It's fine. It happens.
Look, I've seen some crazy shit done with. I mean, even Tears of the Kingdom is something that I'm like, wow, shit. How did they do this? Like, I don't know. It's a beautiful looking game. The art style, and I think that's what they're going to do with Hogwarts.
And I like the building, like the way that they're doing the building and the
That's
crafting,
crazy.
and like you could just do zany shit with it. Like,
but see, I'm like that. I'm that minority, maybe that would have been. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a group of people that share this opinion. If they would have just done a Breath of the Wild 2 that was like, you're pretty much doing everything again, I would have been like.
Isn't that what this is, though? Without calling it that, they were just more creative.
People
with the
kept
name.
saying that this shit was DLC. This is not DLC.
So it does not. I do not think DLC.
Not DLC.
I can see how people might make that argument,
Oh, really?
but
Not helping
I
me out here,
personally
man.
do not see that argument.
I get it, like, but Hyrule looks completely different. It's basically taken all of the feedback of Breath of the Wild and
doing it better.
And done it better.
But they like Overwatch 2.
But people think of Breath of the Wild as like the best video game of all time. Like, it's up in that conversation for like.
Oh, and I think this and that will be like synonymous.
I think so too, man.
I think they're gonna like be together.
There'll be
that
this
way.
genre of Zelda games that
like the
people
Breath
look
of the
back
Wild
on.
Zeldas.
Yeah,
and that's how it'll be said. Like,
yeah.
Or the Switch Zeldas, like however they're going to refer to it. But I think these two will always be compared, like as one. I think it'll just be referred to as one. So I could see how the DLC argument was made, but it's the same argument that Overwatch 2 made about like we're a different game, but we're the same
look,
game.
Tears of the Kingdom is so different though. Like it's something that you have to play. Like, with that building and stuff, it, like, changed the game. And
I'm sure. And the, like, going through the ceilings, like, there's some really cool stuff. The rocks falling that you can, like,
rewind time. Yeah.
That's, like, there's some really cool stuff in it.
It's a lot to do, man. It's a little overwhelming.
And there's a lot to be said about the way they laid out the map. Like, that took some serious engineering.
You have 3 layers to this. You have, like, Hyrule, and it's broken up. It's still the same, but it's so different because of like something that happens at the beginning of the game. But like there's a whole underground, the cave systems, that there's dungeons, and then there's also the Sky Island. So you have 3 versions of like this game that you can approach in so many different ways because of like the building and construction stuff, which is pretty cool, man. I don't know, like I'm taking my time with it. I have barely touched on any of the story stuff because it will just come in time. I remember with Breath of the Wild, I went really hard, and I think it was one of the first games I got for my Switch. And I loved it, man. But then I did not beat it because I was kind of like, maybe that's my problem with ending shit. Is that when I really enjoy something, I'm like, I don't want this to end.
Oh, but you give me so much shit about not finishing Die.
Dude, you still haven't though.
I'm like halfway through. There's like
the last book.
It's like half. There's half left.
Just wrap it up.
But I don't want to.
I know.
It was so well done.
But once it's over.
It's over.
I know. It's bittersweet, dude. I only have... Do you have any other things you want to talk about?
No, that's me.
Okay.
That's it for me.
I just want to quickly talk about going to the comic book shop, dude. It's been really great. I would like to talk about certain comics in the future. If anybody else reads comics or is thinking about that,
and we read
stay
very
tuned.
different things, you and I.
Yeah, you're more into the indie scene.
I love the indie scene.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
even
big on Marvel or DC.
You're not, and I'm really trying to find something in Marvel and DC that can really narrow it down, and then explore other books that are different. Just appreciate comics as like a,
physical medium.
Exactly. But DC's doing the Dawn of DC, which is really cool. It's like a year-long project that they're revamping.
I have enjoyed DC Pride.
They've been pretty good. Oh yeah, DC Pride, and that new one is coming out this week.
Mm-hmm.
So DC's doing.
Seem to like that.
Yeah, DC's doing a lot of cool shit. I think they're really trying to structure things and get it so you can approach it from hey, I've been reading these for a long time, or I just want to hop in and get into it. So, and then Marvel's doing their thing. They're doing like a Venom thing all summer. I'll get into that stuff in another episode or something. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying that. The last thing that was comic is manga that I got into, but I haven't really been reading a lot of manga or watching a lot of anime, dude.
Well, a lot of the stuff we like is in not hiatus. What do you call it?
When is Attack on Titan coming back?
I don't know.
What the hell was that about?
I don't.
What was that? They released this banger, and then they're
it's gonna end, but it hasn't ended. But then it's gonna end, but it's
it's
like part C of a 2-part ending, and I'm like, what the fuck is even
super random?
What even is this? Just call it. We decided to give you a little bit more.
We're just squeezing out all the little bits of money that we can get out of you. No, that's good. But yeah, I haven't really been getting into too much. Maybe this summer we'll find some shows. We just wrapped up watching Titans, which was actually pretty good. We had a good time with it. I had the feeling oh man, if they would have let this go a little bit longer, I think they were kind of catching their groove. The casting in that show is amazing, in my opinion.
But then they gave it a weird ending. It was everyone gets this happy ending.
Oh yeah.
But you're the grungy squad
they
for
are
DC.
Very dark. But that's it. Doom Patrol and that, they're all wrapping up. I can't wait for The Flash to come out this month. June's going to be awesome. So expect a lot of episodes about some cool shit in June. This is just kind of a wrap-up part because I only want to make these an hour or so or less, depending on the conversation. And we just really wanted to get on here, talk about some stuff.
Make it more routine.
Yeah, exactly. So
do more on comics next.
I would love to. Yeah, I've been reading a lot of a little bit of everything really. But yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, I think we've hit everything we wanted to in this episode. So if anybody has any feedback, appreciate your support and watching or listening, because this also uploads on YouTube, so you can check out the podcast there. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a review. And that's it. I appreciate Bailey taking the time out of her night to sit down and record with me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I would love to continue to talk about Dredson. The Dredson.
Oh, now we need to read Foul Moon.
Yeah, that's the second book. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If there's anything in the episode that you guys want to know more about, you can hit me up on social media as well, as far as these books and stuff and some of the things we covered. And if you guys have any topics that you would like to hear us talk about in the future, just let me know. I'm going to try to get a couple of friends on the podcast here over the summer, and like Bailey was talking about, just wanted to do something a little bit more consistently. I think the summer allows us to have more energy and time to put into something like this, and even if it's just one episode every couple of weeks or whatever. However we get it, we'll make it happen. But appreciate everybody's patience, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So with that being said, we will talk to you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Wonder Soul. Connect with the podcast through social media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Search Wonder Soul. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, and review. You can find us on YouTube and Twitch. We appreciate your support. Wonder Soul hopes you have yourself a good day.